Hello, everybody. How are you doing this beautiful Sunday morning? We have been up early and a bit busy trying to get things done. We had one of the lovely ladies come over that is part of the meetup yesterday, and I didn't get my 1 year done till like late. So I'm a bit tired this morning. Anyways, hi, Donna. I am unsure of what you are talking about. If you could explain more, I would appreciate that. Good morning, Trish. How are you? Oops. Have you guys joined the July challenge? You have till tomorrow to join it. You just have to go to the community channel. It has everything. I had a live show up for yesterday. That probably was just a mistake on my part when I was setting it up ahead of time on the dates. My fault, my bad. I apologize if any of you showed up and I wasn't there. That was my bad. I tried to be proactive and set the Sunday lives up ahead of time, and I must have picked a Saturday instead of a Sunday. I will double check when we're done with that. I'll check that and make sure I didn't mess up more. Anywho, again, July challenge, go to the community tab. It's in locals. I have it set up where you can do a discount, or not discount, but a free month code so you don't have to pay anything. And yeah, it has all the instructions there of how to join. We are doing a no cheat July challenge, which I think is wonderful because then you can decide exactly how you want to be eating, whether it's ketovore, carnivore, those kinds of things. Then you get to control that. The only thing you have to do is respond to my post. I specified which one it was. And that puts you in a drawing to win. Let me see if I remember this. A Carnivorous Me t-shirt, the sample pack of Element, bag of Carnivore crisps, and then I don't have it, but the Redmond Salt Rock thing I used for cravings. And then also I'm going to sew you up a little storage bag for it as well. Thanks, Donna. I that was my fault. I try to be proactive and was not conscientious enough of the dates. Maybe because sometimes calendars run like Sunday to Saturday, sometimes they're Monday to Sunday, and I didn't pay attention how their calendar runs. So, anywho, all right, I pulled up some questions. You guys have questions, throw them in there, and let's get started. Amy asked, did you talk to your doctor? Can't find a doctor that knows about carnivore keto, let alone be positive about the choice. Most of you guys probably already know that I started off with my doctor and I kept with him, and he's completely turned around. I really want to ask him. I think he's on vacation for like the month and a half where I had COVID. I had to move my appointment I normally would have had with the PCP to like August 1st. Yeah, it's like August 1st. It's after my birthday. Um, yeah, sorry guys. I didn't mean to. That's really my fault. I will be better about not doing that in the future and double checking the dates. Um, I stuck with him because I don't know, I've been on the other side of being a clinician and I know you can get burned out. He really has come around a lot, but I want to ask him when I see him next time if he's been recommending probably not carnivore, I wouldn't say, but at least keto to his people that are overweight. The area that I live in is heavily vegan, but people here, it's like a mix. They're either fit or they're fat. Like there's nothing in between, it seems like anymore. So, yeah. Ellen asks, can you taste the iodine? The 2 drops of iodine I put in my coffee, I cannot taste. I accidentally one time got the droppers mixed up between the iodine and my vanilla extract. Good morning, Pamela. I got them mixed up and you could taste it then, but 2 drops you don't. Hi, Jen. All right, how do you personally decide that something isn't working for you? For example, OMAD versus TMAD. I am doing OMAD but feel kind of bad, but don't know how long to stick with it. Um, I think we sometimes do give up a little too soon. However, I do feel like with frequency of eating, it's pretty quick. If you are already fat adapted and you're just changing the frequency of when you eat, you're going to know really quickly. If you're not fat adapted, then that's a different story because then you need to, I think, wait at least, 3 to 4 weeks before you make a decision. However, if you're fat adapted and you're doing OMAD, not feeling great, I found personally, and I even admitted, or not admitted, but stated in this one, I do better with 2 meals a day. I actually end up eating less volume of food, and I think about food even less than doing OMAD. If you want to stick with it, I think it really takes a good month to get in the swing of things. But at the same time, if you're a binge eater, is it putting you at risk that you're going to want to binge because you're feeling deprived? There's a lot of things that go into figuring out what works. Some people 3 meals a day on carnivore. Hey, kudos, do what works for you. But I do think again, it's all about where you're at. But if you're fat adapted, you'll know within a week to 2 weeks. If you're not fat adapted, I give it a good 30 days. Hey, Debbie, good morning. I have a question. I have some blood work done and was low in potassium, magnesium. I've been taking keto chow electrolyte drops, but I'm not sure how many times I'm supposed to take. I started off with the keto chow, like I don't have the fancy bottle like Dr. Berry has. I have like the white bottle. When I looked at it, I needed a lot more than what it suggested. Personally, I take a high quality multivitamin from get it from Whole Foods. It's called Country Life, I think is the brand. It's the women's multivitamin. I do that with the iodine. I stopped, and then I do the element too. I do half pack, do one element, half a pack. Sorry, my lip is very sore from the headbutting the other day. So if I slur my words, my apologies. Uh, I do half a pack of element to 1 pack a day. I actually just updated this morning my blood work on the website. My magnesium, potassium are spot on. If you have the drops, I would just try taking more. And I don't remember what the recommendation, haven't used them in so long. I don't throw things away. I'm really bad about that. But I swear it was like only a few drops. I would try increasing it. The thing with being lower on potassium, our body is very sensitive we have a very narrow window where potassium likes to stay into because our muscles work on a sodium potassium pump. Okay. Having low potassium, and this is not to scare anybody or anything, but having low potassium can actually mimic the symptoms of having a stroke, like having really low potassium, okay, not just slightly low. So it's something that I wouldn't wait on and I would up it sooner than later. Tree, where do you shop for meat? Costco. Scott and I, if we had more money, and space, I would go to our local farmers. I've actually looked into that, and eventually I do want to transition to that. But realistically, we shop at our local grocery store, which is Fred Meyer's, aka Kroger's, and then Costco. Costco, at least ours, I found they have meat deals intermittently. And we haven't had ribeyes. I haven't done a grocery haul video in a while because our freezer's still very full of meat because I bought like 72 ribeyes and then I bought like 30 packs of chicken wings. And if you know Costco chicken packs, it's like 6 to 1 like pack. We have so much, but that is exactly where we buy it. And if you're really tight on money, be willing to search for the weekly deals for meat. The Fred Meyer's that we go to, we got flanken ribs. Oh, one of my favorite cuts of meat. It's very fatty and delicious. We got them for $4.80 per pound once I calculated everything out because we got it buy one, get one free. We may have bought 47 pounds of it and bought both stores out. But those are the way to save money for meat. All right, my doctor hates carnivore, but she's at least willing to let me eat how I want to try to fix my health. I think she's waiting to have a I told you moment, but it'll be a that worked instead. Yeah. I don't think, I hope my doctor initially didn't start off that way, but I will tell you he was very surprised at the fact that I was doing better. And then the fact that my, tofu thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Scott lost 29 pounds. He has nothing else to lose. Um, that his blood work was even better despite eating this way, right? Um, Been doing the line diet, eat only when hungry, which turns out to be 2 meals a day. That seems to be working for me. Lost 5 pounds so far. Um, do what works for you? Yeah, I agree. I started with OMAD, or I initially started with 3 meals and then two and then one, but all right. Jojo T, how do you know when you're fat adapted? You will literally stop having any lulls throughout the day. Like if you do something physically exerting, that's a different story. But when your body is still carb sugar based, you will have these ups and downs with your energy. Your energy levels out, the brain fog goes away, you start feeling better. Um, you can use this is a ketone monitor if you want to be more specific and track to see where your ketones are. If you are a type 2 diabetic or one, but that's a different story for type 1 versus 2. Um, or you're insulin resistant. Being pre-diabetic is the first stages of being a type 2 diabetic, by the way. You are just not clinically diagnosed. You are insulin resistant when you are pre-diabetic. All of that will slow it down for you. Okay. If someone like my brother, who has never been diabetic, I mean, he does carnivore anyways, but let's say he started carnivore within 2 weeks or less, he'd be fat adapted. Why? Because he is metabolically healthy. When I started, it takes anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks, depending on where you're at, how overweight you are, all these things. Cal, wish I had a Costco near me. When I lived in Southwest Virginia, we had no Costco. I did definitely miss it. Um, Kaylee, how can I incorporate fat without eating fatty cuts of meat? I cannot do it. The texture makes me. The longer you do carnivore, keto, guys, when I say carnivore, I also am including keto or ketovore because I'm not, you do you, right? Um, Start with things like adding tallow, adding butter. Butter tastes good. Adding butter to leaner pieces of meat. But as the further you get down this journey, your taste will change and you'll notice you actually start liking them. You just have to give yourself time. Okay. Let's see. Costco, New York strips in my area dropped to $2 a pound to $2 a pound to $7.99 a pound. Ribeyes are still $12.99. I do not like New York strip. It's too lean for me, but if you like it, kudos. Ribeyes, yeah, ribeyes are $13 here too. Um, Irina, how soon your blood sugars became stable? Mine is 90, morning 150 on another. Also a blood type, if you don't mind. I am type O. I will tell you, Scott is type A. I know a lot of people fall into the blood work thing, but personally, I do not remotely believe in that at all. I think it has to do with more genetics, not your blood type. That's my opinion. Uh, Mine became stable pretty quick, but I was only taking oral metformin. Actually, I don't think metformin is only oral, but I was only taking oral medication to manage my diabetes. I was not taking insulin. I went from like 200s in the morning to, you can actually check my website if you want specifics. This is my memory, remembering this. I went from like 180s, 200s to low 100s, like 130, 120s within a couple weeks. And then I want to say anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks, something like that. I was under 100 consistently. But again, the worse off of a diabetic you are, the longer it's going to take, the more insulin resistant. If you guys have, if these are your questions, you're concerned about this, make sure you get your fasting insulin checked. That will answer so many questions. If you have a high fasting insulin level, it is going to take much longer for your glucose levels. Why? Because what happens is your body is getting bombarded with glucose, with sugar in the cells. Your cells downregulate. That means they have doors all over them, right? But they're so full of energy, they start closing doors. So instead of having 100, they'll have 50. The more insulin resistance you get, and then they'll have 20. These numbers are not accurate. This is just an example. And eventually they'll have 5. And there's all this glucose floating out there that can't get into the cells because they're overstuffed. That is why it takes so long. Even if it's been a week and you have not had a drop of sugar, you might still have fasting blood sugars of 150. You have to give your body time to pick it up. And insulin resistance, let's see, when I started, mine was 13 13.1 or 13.7. I just updated it, funny enough, which is high. Okay. It is now 7, which is considered normal. And that's taken me over a year to get to, or not eight, it took me a year to get from 13-ish to 7. It takes time for that. Okay. So if you're still high, don't think it's not working. It just takes time, and get that fasting insulin checked. Jojo just joined. Woo, yay. Frida, what are you eating? I'm tired. I'm so sorry. What are you all eating on Carnivore so you don't get bored? Also, what are you cooking when you have guests for dinner? We eat mostly beef, but I don't know. I have a couple meals that we alternate. Chicken wings, if you haven't tried them, I have a recipe on my channel. It is delicious. I use that once a week. I just discovered we made a carnivore version of chicken cordon bleu, which uses literally chicken, some dairy, pork rinds. Delicious. We alternate those. So I have my favorite meals, and I do not make them very frequently because I don't want to wear out of them. Other than that, I just alternate ribeye, burgers. We like the cheddar sausage from Costco. I just kind of alternate through those. Honestly, I should do more fish, but I'm not a fish person. Just not my thing. That's why I take iodine in my coffee every morning, because I know I'm not. And then also, I kind of wrap my head around, I've eaten 33 years, 32 years of my life what I wanted. It is time to do what I need. And that kind of helped a lot with the boredom. Plus spices. Spices are very good to eat the same piece of meat, but change it up. As far as guests, they get to eat what I make. You come to my house, we're carnivore. I'm not going to buy you bread. I'm not going to buy you a dessert. I don't care if that's something you're used to. I care enough about someone to feed them, but they're going to eat what we're making. Now, my middle sister, because I'm the youngest, my middle sister doesn't tolerate really fatty meat. So I will adjust things. Like, instead of having flanken ribs, she eats a low fat diet. Uh, I will adjust meats and I can make her like a New York strip or something that's leaner. I will do that. I'm not that mean. But they get what we get. I will give them pork rinds too if they need a side. Keto Chow says take 6 drops. Do you think if you take 12 or more? I think I took like a whole dropper. So yeah, but here's the thing. Get your blood work checked. Change it up a little bit. Pay attention to how you feel, and then get your blood work checked. Janet, if you're low in potassium, best to get a prescription from your doctor. Yeah, you could absolutely do that. As I said, our potassium has a extremely narrow range it wants to be in, and you really don't want to start falling outside the range. If you're on the low end, you're still okay, but if I don't know exactly how low it is, but if it's low enough, I just message your doctor and get their opinion. Do you think it's best if you give me a potassium supplement? Donna, I don't like fat on steak either, so I get my fat from butter, bacon grease, 70-30 ground beef. Super trick is with your ground beef to make it taste even more yummy. Tallow. You can make your own. I think Carnivore Crisp sells jars of it. You can probably buy it at the grocery store or at least a health food store. We literally make our own. You just go to the butcher and ask for the fat excess. We put it in a Dutch oven in the oven for like 6 hours, mixing every 2 hours. Strain it with cheesecloth, put it in a mason jar, let it cool, boom, you have tallow. It is a great way to add fat and flavor. So, Tara, yeah, that's a good idea. Sirloin steak leaner, add fat by making Parmesan heavy cream sauce. Yeah, if you're doing cheese, do it. Jennifer, did you gain weight at all in your first month? I'm 1 month in and weighed this morning. I'm up 7 pounds. I've lost inches though, and I'm just feeling discouraged. I did not. However, I really want to specify this to everybody. I started at 360. I had a lot, and I mean a lot of edema on my legs. I lost my first 2 weeks, I think 15 pounds. Not gonna lie, probably 12 of that was fluid. I had very bad pitting edema in my legs to the point where like I had I didn't have an ankle anymore. You could not see my ankle bones. You couldn't see any blood vessels in my feet. My feet were so swollen. Okay. So don't use me as an example for this in the sense of if you didn't have severe edema, you aren't going to lose that much. It was a ton of fluid. Okay. Getting rid of carbs, your body releases the fluid. I think, Jennifer, depending on where you started, are you fat adapted yet? I wouldn't necessarily. Okay, this is my conclusion, y'all. Weighing once a month. I was weighing every week, but decided, nah, I'm weighing once a month. I want to remove the, not obsession, and I guess it is obsession, around the number and using it to value myself, which is a terrible thing to do, and a lot of us do this, weighing once a month. Okay, that's my first suggestion, as tempting as it is to weigh daily and or weekly. I don't know how often you're weighing, but if you've had any carbs, for every gram of carb, it holds like 2 grams of water. Don't quote me on it, but it's close to that. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. One carb, 2 grams of water, something like that. If you've had carbs, it is very easy to retain water overnight. 1 pound or 1 gallon of water weighs like 8.3 pounds. So if you went from having no carbs to having carbs, you can easily gain, pounds overnight. Uh, my other suggestion is journal your food. Journal what you are eating because it is very simple to be eating a lot unnecessarily if you're bored eating, or just not realizing maybe carbs are sneaking in there that you don't realize. I mean, it's really very, very easy to do without thinking about it. Mustards and things like this, they have carbs and stuff. And sausages if you're not careful. Don't be discouraged. We did not get where we got overweight overnight. And watch my video I did that is about chapter 1 of Atomic Habits. A lot of times we'll do something and we don't see the instant or what we should think should be results. But sometimes we just needed to take 5 more steps, and that would have been, the threshold we crossed and things start working well. Okay, watch that. I think that'll help a lot. All right, Juan, I'm a strict vegan. I have a question. Is carnivore diet not dangerous for arteries and proper function of the heart? No, you should go watch my 1 year video I just did. And I recorded my entire conversation with my cardiologist this past Thursday with his permission. I'm actually trying to convince him to do a video, like in-person video with me to answer your guys' questions because he's a board certified cardiologist. It is not. Having carbohydrates with processed foods and saturated fats is not good. Having the combination is actually very bad. Having no carbs, no sugar, saturated fats is not remotely dangerous. I've done advanced cardiac panels from when I started to where I am now, and all of my numbers are trending in a better direction. The fact that I have reversed my type 2 diabetes. No, it's not in remission. It is cured. It is gone. That is one of the biggest impacts of cardiac health is inflammation. Funny enough, he told me that he's had a handful of vegan patients come in because where I live is very heavily vegan. And they come in thinking that, I'm just going to get a checkup. I'm 50. I'm going to get a checkup. Then he does the workup on them. They come back and they're pissed at him. Why? Because their cardiac health isn't doing well despite being 40 years of a vegan. Being a vegan does not guarantee you're going to have good cardiac health. It's just like with any diet. If you eat Twinkies and Oreos, but you never eat any meat, no, you're not healthy. Like, I'm not, if you want to do vegan, go do it. It's not a judgmental call. However, we look at our history and things like that. We are meat eaters, you know? And so I couldn't have reversed, let's see, I'm at 12 different comorbidities if eating meat was bad. Like, it doesn't work that way. If we're eating something that's toxic, it's going to be toxic and it's going to harm us, period. It's not going to help us for a little bit and then harm us. It's going to just overall harm us. There we go. Life, Max. Are onions and garlic permitted? Depends. If you are doing strict carnivore, no. If you're doing more ketovore, yes. You have to decide if you feel fine from them, go for it. Do you have a CGM and what are your reading goals? I don't. Personally, I think CGMs are wonderful for type 1 diabetics and type 2 diabetics that are having to manage it. I do not believe a CGM is necessary for people who are non-diabetics in any way, shape, or form, unless you're really a numbers person. Okay. CGMs are just continuous glucose monitors for those of you that didn't know. If you're not eating carbs, your blood sugar is going to be stable. What does it matter? But again, if you're type 1, type 2 diabetic, they are wonderful, especially if you have to take insulin as a type 2. I never did it. I just checked my blood sugars like 50 times a day and recorded them that way. They also are great if you're just curious on how eating different foods affect you, if you're doing like ketovore or you're doing a diet that includes fruit and stuff like that. Melody, curious, when you start a family, will you raise your kids to carnivore lifestyle? Looking forward to the babies. Me too. Scott and I are really hoping next year. We did go to a fertility doctor Friday and kind of just found out that we're going to have to do IVF or a version of that to have kids. Um, Scott was real hurt about that, but things happen, life happens. We'll deal with it. They will be most likely, they'll be ketovore. Um, I do think having like avocados and stuff, if they can tolerate them, having just some extra fats for kids, I think is important and a little bit more nutrients. I think they'll be just fine, but they definitely will be 99% keto for sure. Um, let's see, my sugar is typically around 103 every morning. I've been doing intermittent fasting carnivore for 10 months. My fasting insulin is 9.7. Yeah, you're still higher than it should be. So I'm not surprised that you're having a 103 in the mornings. Every body is different in how fast it heals. And, if you've been 30 years insulin resistant, it's just slowly gotten worse over time. It it's not going to heal in 10 months. But 103 is still a really good fasting blood sugar, I hope you know. Especially if you were a type 2 diabetic. That is nothing to like poo-poo at. Give yourself another 6 months and I would have it checked again. If that 9.7 is older, I'd get it checked again sooner. I want mine done every 3 to 6 months, depending if I can convince the PCP to order it. Right. Karen, I'm trying again, but I feel like I can eat beef right now. I do eat fish and hot dogs, and I do beef, but I can't stomach right now. If you need to lean back into for whatever reason, beefs and things, do it. There's nothing wrong with just doing like pork and chicken and that kind of stuff until you can get back towards beef. Ruminant meat is the most nutrient dense. Okay, it does not mean you can't do carnivore not having it. You just have to pay attention to things a little bit closer. Valerie, have you tried any of the recipes from cooking steak from frozen? If so, what do you think? We grill food, and you don't ever want to grill things from frozen. You will end up with a hockey puck of a steak. I don't use an air fryer, so I'm not 100% sure how that goes from frozen. I've heard plenty of people say it's good. We grill things, and I take it out, thaw it. I let it sit out for 30 minutes to bring the outside temperature of the steak up slightly, and this keeps it from getting overcooked on the inside. My opinion is I have no very good opinion about it. All right, life. Just started carnivore after keto, not working 2 weeks, suffering horrible headaches, nausea, and meat aversions. Make sure you are taking either electrolyte, drinking enough, or eating enough salt. Headaches, salt, low potassium, magnesium, those kinds of things are the headaches. Get some more in you, whether you want to do an electrolyte, whether you want to just take a multivitamin that has potassium, magnesium, and you eat more salt. Make sure you're drinking enough water. The meat version, I solved this by going through this like logic loop I was stuck in. If I was starving or truly hungry, I would eat whatever it was in front of me without complaint. Anytime I have a meat aversion, and it's been a year, I still intermittently have it just every once in a while. I just fast until I'm like, oh, that steak sounds good or whatever it is. That is how I get over meat aversion every single time. Christopher, adding other fat tricks. Here we go. Costco, 75-25 Angus chuck burgers and 80-20 grass-fed topped with butter and optional lightly fried egg yolk. That's a good idea. People say eating egg on top of burger, like a over medium or whatever, is delicious. I don't like eggs, so you'll have to tell me about it. Like it. Okay. 5'4", have weighed 151 for a month. My scale does not budge. Eating carnivore with dairy. Jen, I would suggest journaling what you're eating. First off, that's like my number one thing. Take a week, journal it. Change one thing at the end of the week. Pick it. Drop the dairy or maybe drop the cheese and just do heavy cream or pick something. Do it for another week. Okay. It's a rinse and repeat method that you will find what you need to, what works for you. Each body is different. Some people cannot do any dairy and lose weight, or some people can't have dairy or they won't lose weight. I can have dairy and I do just fine, but I don't eat a lot. I have my like half a tablespoon, maybe tablespoon of heavy cream with my coffee in the morning, and then I can go a couple days with no cheese. You know, Scott lost his 29 pounds and eats cheese like out the wazoo, no problem. That's my suggestion for you. How long does it take back to get back into ketosis? Something's wrong with my reading skills today after cheating. It depends on how long and how bad. I shouldn't say how bad, but how much. If you had like a pint of raspberries, not very long. If you had cake, burger, fries, ice cream, Twinkies, Oreos, it's going to take a hot minute. Your body has to utilize all of the glucose you consumed. Okay. And that pretty much, however much glucose and sugar you consumed is going to be how long. Your body will take it, metabolize it, it will store it back in the liver as glycogen. And that's usually about 3 days of sugar reserves, depending on how much you ate. That is going to affect it. Again, you guys, if you're curious, ketone monitor. It'll tell you it's a blood one. You got to stab yourself. They're more accurate than the pee ones, honestly, but you do you if you don't want to poke yourself. Uh, this will help you figure it out. But again, depends on how much and how bad the meal was. Jennifer, I've been eating a lot of sausage for breakfast. I'm going to have to cut that out. So, yeah, sausage. Don't get me wrong, I still have sausage here and there, but I am well aware that there's like 2 grams of carbs in the sausage. Because it is processed, they have to add things to it because you can't just put ground up meat in a casing because of bacteria issues. You don't want to eat stuff that does not have it in there. You will get very sick. They have additives in there. Really, I've tried to limit our sausage intake to twice a week. Okay. And nitrates, excess nitrates, can raise your triglycerides, surprisingly enough. Christopher hit a weight stall about 3 months ago, seeing non-scale victories with better body composition, better skin, better energy and well-being. Folks shouldn't give up. Yes, please don't. We have these expectations that it should go like this, but it doesn't ever go like this. It's going to go the rate it's going to go. And don't quit before you hit that threshold. Do not quit. Okay. What about if a friend guest is vegetarian or vegan? Um, I don't have any vegan friends. Not that it's not that I have anything personal against them. In that case, I mean, I probably would go to a restaurant. Honestly, I would go to a restaurant. You could just make a few simple things for them. I don't know how picky of eaters there are. I've actually never had to feed a vegan. I don't. I'm probably the worst person to ask this advice or opinion from. I probably would just go to a restaurant that way they can choose whatever they want. I can eat my meat and, all that stuff. That would be my suggestion, personally. Jen, I had an appointment with cardiologist this week, and we are starting on a plan to tackle my constant AFib. So glad I asked my question on the low carb cruise and talked with others about my condition. Yes. And here's the thing. I've seen a lot of patients as they've lost weight too, their AFib resolves. And the good thing is it's AFib, not VFib. because that would be very dangerous. Not that AFib doesn't make you feel like crap when it happens. All right, red returning. 3 months strict carnivore now, and so much easier than I thought, and feel much better. Lost, not lost by weight after 45 pounds. BMI is lowering. Okay, so body composition changes. That's good. That's really good. Sometimes when I can't atomic beef, I can't eat beef, I'm assuming. I have hot dogs. I know it may not be good, but I'm still trying, and this helps me stay done. If it's that thing that keeps you going until you can worry about the 98%, not the 2. If you want to make it even a step better, try to get like all beef hot dogs. Do what you can. And as time goes on, you'll feel better and you'll slowly start incorporating better and better options. And that's A-okay. Is white vinegar okay with carnivore? If you feel fine, yes. I use vinegar in my buffalo wing sauce, and I use mustard. You just got to decide what's good for you. Hi, Karen. This is my first live, kind of new to this. I still haven't decided to stop eating carbs. Is it harmful to increase my fats and protein while still eating carbs? This is a complicated question and answer. It depends on the carbs you're eating in the sense of, are you eating Oreos and Twinkies? If you want to gain weight quickly, eat a lot of fat and eat a lot of carbs together. Fat is very nutrient or very energy dense. Carbs are not quite as much, but they still are energy dense. And it is confusing the body. The body either runs on carbs or it runs on fats. It will use carbohydrates first. They are a quicker, faster energy source than fat. You kind of have to build the factory in a sense. Your body has to switch to fat burning. It's eating a lot at the same time. If you taper your carbs down while you're increasing your fats, you'll be fine. If you are still eating a lot of carbs and eating a lot of fats, you're going to find you're going to be gaining weight. But again, I don't know what kind of carbs you're eating. I don't know how many carbs you're eating. That it's a very complicated question. CGMs are helpful for people on the fence and not sure if they want to go full carnivore. Yeah, if you like numbers, they are super cool just to see how things are working. But, there's been this huge push for CGMs, as I said, just my opinion, type 1 diabetics, type 2, people who love numbers. Is it for just like, I would never personally, even that I've been in the healthcare field, I would not use one unless I was a type 2 diabetic still. Then I would suggest it. All right. Aunt Bling, hello. I want to document on YouTube my tons of lipomas decreasing or disappearing with sugar and most carbs gone. How are you protecting your privacy and such and dealing with haters? I get a good YouTube cry in every 3 months. I tell Scott, just a good YouTube cry. It is, I'm going to be honest, guys, it's difficult. You're putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable spot, and there are a lot of people who are sad, miserable, or they just not to pick on vegans anyway, in any way, but a lot of vegans I found have made veganism their identity and they feel personally attacked that I do carnivore. And so they come out with their cat claws to me. It no longer bothers me with vegans just because I've come to the realization that they come at it from a moral high ground that I'm better than you because of X, but completely ignore the fact that as we exist as humans, we kill animals. Our very existence doesn't matter if you eat them, you drive the car, the house you live on, the roads you drive on to get to work, the gasoline, all of this. It is destroying ecosystems in the sense of the house that I live in used to be forest land where animals would thrive. Less forest land, less animals. And it's just it has made me much more mentally tough. And that is, you have to decide with yourself. Are you willing to have like every little flaw or you do something wrong pointed out? Not that I'm trying to dissuade anyone, but whole honesty with this. Protecting your privacy and such. There is none. There is no protecting your privacy. I watched a thing on Twitter where this guy took a clip he found on YouTube, and it was a mom talk. It didn't matter what it was talking about. Within, I don't know, 20 minutes, with her not saying her name, not saying what city or state she lived in, he was able to like geolocate by the images around her exactly where she filmed it at. So if you want 100% privacy, there does not exist any on the internet. Hi, Mama Cat. Failed myself last night and had something I haven't had in a year and a half. A few bites of cake. Fortunately, it was a few bites, and now I'm trash. Good job. The challenge did technically yesterday, but if you're joining in, you can get it to start tomorrow if you would like. Cassie, been doing carnivore a week, down 7 pounds. Congrats. I have an autoimmune disorder and have a lot of inflammation. I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited for you. My autoimmune is so much better. It's crazy much better than what it was. The fact that I can go up and down stairs. Scott and I went, where did we go? We went paddleboarding yesterday. Alabama Hill. It's just in Bellingham. It's this tall, tall hill. The fact that I was able to go up it and then the next day not be so sore that I just couldn't move my knees, improvements immensely in the autoimmune. Humble trail mom. Carnivore can be a good elimination diet. I've tried it to introduce some keto foods back in. I found out they were really bad for me, especially nuts. Staying mostly carnivore for the past year. Yeah, carnivore, it is an extremely, honestly, I think every human being should do at least 90 days of it and figure out what foods bother them. I had allergy testing done and food allergy testing. I found out a lot of the results, like it said I was allergic to meat. Red meat. I have no problem with red meat. So I think it is just a wonderful thing for everybody to do. Hi, Amanda. Did you find any problems with your feet prior to carnivore? If so, have you found any good shoes? Congrats. Oh man, my feet were so big, swollen, painful. The carbs made them much worse. I initially started with men's Keens wide hiking boots. They're shoes. They're not the boots that go up the ankle. Loved those. Okay. If you have really, really wide or swollen feet, men's shoes. So if women's are regular width, right? A regular women's, the wide for women's would be like a 1X. Okay. Men's base shoes start at a women's 1X width. So then the men's wide is like a 2X width. They use different numbers, but just for example. So it's like a women's extra, extra wide if you get the men's wide. If this makes any sense. So that's what I started with. However, I just discovered, because I can wear women's wides now, that Hoka, Hoka, James from Ready Set Keto, when we were on the cruise, told me about them. I'm always sketch about shoes because I got these weird feet. My right foot is slightly wider than my left foot because when I was young, I broke my baby toe and my parents never taped it down. So I only had like, it's like this. So only, well, if I had four toes, I do have five toes, just so you know. If, because that fourth toe wasn't touching the ground, my body broke my right foot's arch slightly to widen my base of support. So my right foot is wider than my left foot slightly. So I have these weird feet. I love these Hoka shoes. I bought a second pair of new Keens hiking shoes. I'm actually sending them back and returning them and replacing them with the Hoka hiking tennis shoes. I really like them. I'm usually not a shoe person. Yeah. Marie, didn't know. Yes. If you go and look at my blood work that I just updated this morning, there is I was at 106 and then it jumped to like, I think 145 and now it's back at 115. I was eating a lot of sausage and I talked to my cardiologist and he said, yes, excess nitrates can cause your triglycerides to raise. Jen, are you focusing on strength training at all? Yes, Scott, that is part of I've added to my July challenge is doing the gym all throughout the month of July, not just like here, there, sparsely. We didn't do yesterday just because we spent like 2 hours on the paddleboard, and I told Scott that was my core workout for the day, standing and paddling. But I'm aiming for going to the gym 5 days a week, just even if it's only 20 minutes at a time, nothing crazy, but to cycle through like arms, core, legs. I really, really want to. I love working out and I want to get back to Olympic weightlifting. Like I ate a lot of sausage and felt like crap. Good lesson. It is. Um, when going on to the diet, I'm having trouble using the bathroom. If you know what I mean, what should I do? If you're having constipation, eat more fat, drink enough water. If you are having diarrhea, it is normal in the beginning. Mine lasted like a little more than 5 weeks to the point where I couldn't get very far from the bathroom. I had some accidents. I will not TMI you guys too much, but there was an accident getting 40. Uh, so there you go. But fat, water if you're constipated. And the reason we get the diarrhea in the beginning, if you're on the other end of the spectrum, is all of the bacteria in our intestines, our gut flora get used to feeding on carbs and sugar. They die off. Your body flushes them out. Plus, it's just a major dietary change is also what causes it. Um, YGF, are you a doctor? No, but I've worked in the healthcare field for physical therapy for over 10 years. I asked if my AFib was worse because I was fat, and he said, no, it's because you're old. Jesus, what a comment. It can make it slightly worse being obese, uh, but age can have an impact on AFib. AFib is just atrial fibrillation for those that didn't know. It's the upper chamber right above the ventricle part. And what AFib is it spasms, but because gravity pulls the blood down, it can make you feel like VFib. If you've ever watched medical shows or whatever, they're like, oh, they're in VFib. I'm going to shock them. Ventricle fibrillation is the dangerous one because it's actually the lower part of the heart that pumps and pushes the blood through the body. If that's not working, you're in trouble. But AFib, it just doesn't eject all of the blood out of the atrium into the ventricle very well, depending. Red. Uh, that's okay. I can misread a well-written comment anyways. How do I increase my fat intake? Apparently, my protein is going up, but my fat isn't. I'm wondering what types of meat I should go for. You can eat, just put butter. If you put butter on everything, if you need more fat, you can use tallow. Cook your things in bacon grease. Those are the simplest ways. Ribeye, flanken ribs, uh, my brain's not working. Ribs, pork, beef ribs, those are very fatty. But butter, honestly, is the easiest. Like if you have meat in your freezer and it tends to be lean, just add butter to it at the end, like on top. I actually put it on I call it a bed of butter. We make our steak and then the steak goes on the butter. Karen, my biggest food I'm struggling with is not having toast and lots of butter. That is why. Uh, I've never been a toast person, but you could try things like pork rinds. Obviously, they don't taste exactly the same, but you get some crunch like you do with toast. So maybe try switching out using pork rinds. Donna, Dr. B says eating cheapest hot dog deli process is still 100% better than eating, yes, 100%. You do what you need to do, how you need to do it, right? And here's the thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, you must be rich, you eat ribeye. No, I just am very good about finding deals. The ribeyes that we bought were like $10 and something a pound. And most days I eat not even a whole, I eat like 3/4 of a ribeye, 2 eggs, and a bacon. And it's like $6 to $8 a day for all of my food the entire day, which is not a lot, right? Anyways, you start where you can with this. If you have to eating spam out of the can is better than the standard American fast food, restaurant food, Twinkie diet there is. And here's the thing, like a lot of people don't realize, as you feel better, like you do better. And as you do better, your socioeconomic status rises. Why? Because you are doing better at work, you're getting promotions. And if you're not, then you're like, you know what? I'm worth more. I'm going to go find a different job. You actually end up making more money. So no matter where you're at financially and where you're starting, you absolutely, as you get better, get more confident, feel better, do better, your socioeconomic status rises. Okay. So don't be ashamed if all you can afford is hot dogs right now. I mean, I I was my mom and I were so broke that I had like a settlement for a couple $1,000s when I was like a kid. When I turned 18, I bought a motorcycle. I had to sell the motorcycle like a year later because we couldn't pay our mortgage and we needed money to pay the mortgage. Like I have been broke before, so I truly get it. Uploading Joy. That's a cute name. I'm new to this and love educating myself about carnivore diet. Your videos have been helpful. I've noticed when I follow it, my mood is so stable. Can you talk about how it has helped your mood? Go watch my first few videos and then my last few, and that is like instantly the difference that happens. My mood, God, I was like this dreary rain cloud everywhere. Poor Scott. I can't imagine living in the house with me pre-carnivore. I was just so anxious and depressed. And now it's like, I feel like the sunshine. It's not that I don't have down moments. Like, I still, to this day, there's Rosie. Rosie. Oh, my finger's on the wrong place. Rosie, the black one. I still miss her to this day. I mean, it's only been 3 months since she died. I still have moments I cry and break down. It's not that I'm all cheery rainbows at all times, but my mood is so much more stable. So much more stable. And especially around my periods. Poor Scott. That's all I can say is poor Scott. Jerry, successful day one. Yay! Congrats. Sometimes we just need one day to get the next day to the next day. Look what happened to the vegan mountain climber who tried to summit Mount Everest. I'm assuming nothing good. I don't actually know about that, but I'm assuming it's nothing good. My nutritionist once told me if we were not meant to eat meat, he wouldn't have given us canine teeth. Our teeth are hybrid in the sense we can absolutely eat vegetables and fruits, like the design of our teeth. We're just talking about that, and meat. Our digestive tract is one of the most, how do I say this? Versatile in the animal kingdom. Okay. We were meant to be able to adapt to what we had available for food. Okay. Like this is the argument about the teeth because people are like, oh, our teeth aren't, canines or our teeth weren't meant for vegetables. Actually, it's just we have a wide variety with our teeth and our digestive tract. We have one of the most versatile. And the other reason is our body will adapt our stomach pH to what we are eating. We need more acidic when we have food. You need much less acidic when you're having carbs and vegetables. You actually need more basic-ish stomach acid. Our body will adapt. Okay. Like this is the one thing a lot of people don't understand is we are very versatile and it is to ensure that we can propagate the human species. But I still do think the proper human diet's the proper human diet, right? I mean, I'm not arguing about that. I have Hashi's and enlarged left nodule that was 60% cancerous back in 2020. It's shrinking slowly, but it's not growing on a ketovore diet. But endocrinologist says no dairy, no gluten. Uh, the cancerous part, I can tell you, no carbs, no sugar will 100% help it. Like the less carbs and sugar you can get in your diet, the absolute better. There is research I saw an article from like 1930 that they were linking sugar to cancer growth in the 30s. Okay. Like it's crazy. Hi, Adam. I'm a little over 2 months behind you. 365 to 247, down 118. Amazing. Congratulations. Depression gone. Inflammation. Back pain. Bad back pain flush. Keep going. I'm super glad for you. I'm super glad for you for the back pain too. Been there. Know what that's like to not be able to move around and do what you want to do in life. Congrats. That is amazing. Kathy, feels like as I simplify my diet, I simplify my life. So much less of everything. Yes, less cooking, less dishes, less worrying about that condiment that went bad in your refrigerator. I actually went through for like the fifth time of a refrigerator and threw ketchup. 'Cause I don't eat ketchup and fries, but threw ketchup. And I was like, my niece likes it, but I'm like, you know what? She can survive one evening not having ketchup in this house. I threw it all away. All. I had uh, it's soy sauce. Threw that away. Just got rid of it. Right. Been doing carnivore almost 4 months, lost 25 pounds. Congrats, but stalled out. Still having trouble keeping my blood sugars down, but it's much improved. Gonna try BB&E for 30 days. If you haven't joined the July challenge, it's the no cheat challenge. Uh, the thing is I know we all want our weight loss to be this. If you actually look at my weight loss, initially it's like this, and then this, and then this, and this, and this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this. Okay. It's not going to be consistent. The body does have to recomposition isn't the right word, but that's exactly what it is. It has to kind of rearrange things and get used to the lower weights. And that's why you will have stalls. It is natural to have stalls. Emily, I keep trying to do carnivore, but I have issues where my teeth hurt so bad eating all that meat. Any suggestions? If you're eating chewier cuts of meat, make sure you are cutting perpendicular to the grain. And you know that, like if you take your fork or pull the meat apart, you'll see the direction the muscle fibers run. They run this way, cut your meat this way. It'll do half the chewing for you. Second, aim for things like ground beef or chicken thighs or fatty fishes, things that are less chewy. Beef or ruminant has the most nutrients, but if you are having a hard time staying on because you are eating just a lot of really chewy meat, it is better to eat like chicken versus not doing the diet at all, or the lifestyle, I should say. So ground beef, chicken, fish, lobster. I tried that for the first time recently. It was delicious. Expensive, but it was delicious. Just those kinds of things. Don't think you have to eat a steak every night. I have no problem chewing steak, but I'm gonna be honest, y'all, really bad about this. Chew twice, swallow whole. I just Poor Scott chews it to death and wears his poor jaws out, so I get that. It's probably why he eats so much cheese too. It's so dang easy to eat. Uh, Hi, Lila. Have heart failure, eat low sodium. What should I do about electrolytes? For you, I would suggest probably doing something with a multivitamin that has potassium and magnesium. Um, I will tell you, not a doctor, okay? Just this is Amanda's opinion. If you have heart failure and you're eating low sodium, you need to get the carbs out of your diet. The reason sodium matters with heart patients specifically is because 99% of the time they're eating carbohydrates. For every gram, this is not exact, but it's a 2-to-1 ratio. For every gram of carbs you eat, your body retains 2 grams of water. Okay. Stop eating the carbs. It doesn't matter about sodium anymore because your body just flushes it out. And the issue with heart failure with low sodium they're trying to aim for is decreasing your blood volume, putting less pressure on your heart. Okay. Less fluid in the body. That's the whole goal for it. No carbs, sodium becomes much less important for heart issues. But for you, high quality multivitamin. I mean, high quality. Don't go to Walmart for this. Right. Hokas are great shoes, like walking on pillows. They are. The first time I walked in them, it's like I'm walking on clouds. It was crazy, crazy good. Jedi, wear 12 4E wide shoes. Is E, I think E is like the extra, extra wide. Lost 96 pounds, eating small amounts and walking, also drinking lots of water. Congrats. Oh, there you go. Humble said, my teeth hurt for a few months and then went away. It will actually strengthen as you eat the meat. It will actually strengthen the bone, will slightly thicken around your teeth. Uh, oh, yeah. Chuck roast. There you go. That completely escaped me for that. Chuck roast is good. And if you cook it right, it falls apart. Gum health can get better, eliminating sugar and such. Scott had terrible gingivitis, y'all. Terrible. He had to go every 3 months to have a deep cleaning. I'm not kidding you. Now he can go every 6 months. No deep cleaning either. He doesn't have gingivitis anymore, and supposedly that's irreversible. Okay. Is low carb veggies with protein and fats okay? For example, steak with a simple side of salad. If you're doing keto, go for it. You really have to decide what is for you. And a lot of times people will start with keto and they'll transition to carnivore. Carnivore, there's many reasons to do carnivore. I do it for the binge eating. I do it for the autoimmune. Okay. Those are my main reasons that I do carnivore. I actually like vegetables. I love asparagus and Brussels sprouts and salads, but I don't feel well when I eat them. If you feel well, do it. Okay. You can do like ketovore. Ketovore is like a handful of veggies throughout the week, but mostly meat still. Um, kind of just answer this anyways. Why not cut carbs and eat vegetables? Because vegetables have oxalates in them, which are inflammatory. And having three autoimmune, and I was a diabetic, it is a lot of inflammation in the body. The point of carnivore is to reduce your inflammation as much as humanly possible. There are plenty of people who do fine eating vegetables or like the low carb, dark green veggies, do fine, perfect, eat them, not telling anybody not to. You can get a huge sheet of pork rinds. It's crazy. I would be curious what if they're using the pork rind fat, um, the fat from the pork to cook that in. That would be my only question. Can't you get all you need from veg, a lot of veg, high carb? No, you cannot get B12 from vegetables. It is impossible to get it, is why you have to take a supplement, except the supplements are not nearly as good. The issue with high carb is that is what feeds type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance is from having too much glucose and or carbohydrates, glucose in the body. It does not mean you cannot lose weight on it. That is not my suggestion. However, it is a miserable way to go. Why? Because you are now subjecting your body to constant high lows with glucose. Because glucose is like gasoline. You only, how do I say this? The second you run out, you dip. When you do a carnivore diet, you don't have that because your body's able to streamline pulling fat from your own body. So it's like a constant smooth, it's like driving a Tesla. It's just a constant smooth go. No ups, no downs. It reduces the inflammation in your body, which is also a all veg diet, very high in oxalates, which is very high inflammatory. Not remotely suggested, but if people do it and they do it, do it. It's not a judgment. Okay, a few more. Few more. If you go back and look at how much you spent on crap food, buying meat, eggs, butter is actually cheaper. I admit every time I buy a pack of ribeyes, I do have some sticker shock, but it's okay. Yes. And think about it's not just that. Think about how much food and condiments we've thrown away over our life. I would be nauseated if I could ever go back and add that up of how much food I've thrown away because I let avocados go bad or the broccoli go bad. It's it really I end up so much better off. Meat makes us angry. I prefer a vegan diet, no carb. Yeah, does not make me angry. Please. Um, sorry, guys. I just want to make sure I get the last few questions. I like how you said I lost 101 pound 121 times. I get irritated when I lose the same 3 pounds. Oh my gosh, the same pound 3 or 4 times because weight fluctuates. Jen, join me with this on doing once a month weighing. I'm not going to weigh myself until July 31st. I think this is going to be the biggest positive impact in removing that ups and downs. Because remember, 1 gallon of water is like 8.3 pounds. Okay, it's a lot. If you happen to drink like a lot of water, go to bed, and then weigh yourself in the morning, it would be easy to be up by a pound or two the next day. So join me on the one weighing on July 31st. Okay. Okay, anyways. Oh, also, Jen, will you message me on Instagram or something um, when you get a chance, please? Okay. Last one. Mm. Hi, Chris. I watched your interview with the ketogenic woman, by the way. 3 minutes past. Okay, that's it. All right, guys. Don't forget, July meetup. I think it's the 29th. My brain's scattered. July 29th meetup. We are doing Mount Rainier, like at the bottom, bicycling around it. If you're in the area, come join us. It's going to be so much fun. And then we're going to do Foco de Chao afterwards. Also, July have not had much coffee this morning. Our July challenge is a no cheat challenge. Just go to the community tab if you want to join. It is free. You just have to use the July challenge code in locals. I made it free for everybody to join. I appreciate all of you so very much. And either tomorrow or Wednesday, no, tomorrow or Tuesday, excuse me, I will have that cardiology appointment out. I'm excited for the people who are concerned about their cholesterol to see it. Thank you guys and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Bye.